Here, the parable of the Good Samaritan. A man is beaten by robbers and left by the side of a road. They take his clothes off. So just as I described, the yin-yang symbol represents someone in the Garden of Gethsemane at night with their clothes on, and then they leave and their clothes are off. A man is beaten by the side of a road. You see the windy road in the middle of the yin-yang symbol. He has clothes on, and then he's left by the side of the road, his clothes off. Two people pass him by, a priest and a Levite. They pass him by on the other side of the road. So there he is with his clothes off. He has been disrobed. They walk by over here. They don't help him. The third person that comes along is the Good Samaritan. And the Good Samaritan, see, they're small-minded, the two that don't help him, a priest and a Levite. There's two small coins. The person with a broader mindset, the third coin, the larger coin, the coin you might not notice because it's of a totally different nature than the other two. It says he comes to where the guy is, so it's a different. The priest and the Levite walk by on the other side. He comes to where the guy is. I'm gonna have to move to avoid a robot voice. This is the way our modern culture is. Okay, so, and what he does, he looks over there. He's got clothes on. The Samaritan. I'm trying to get this in focus. He looks over at the guy that doesn't have clothes, and he empathizes. He thinks to himself, man, imagine what it would be like not to have clothes. You see the color on the small black circle is the man without clothes. The large black darkness that surrounds the Good Samaritan is empathy. The color black absorbs all light. The color white reflects it. The color black absorbs. So he absorbs the suffering of the other man. He empathizes with him. And it's overwhelming to him. You see, he's surrounded by the suffering of the man. The small black circle becomes this massive thing, this ocean of suffering that he's swimming in. And he thinks to himself, he imagines. So now he becomes creative. He was receptive to the man's suffering that's dark. Now he becomes creative, and he imagines that man with no clothes, that small black circle, having clothes, the big white mass. Okay, that's what happens in the Good Samaritan. So he takes him to an inn, and he pays the innkeeper 2 denarii, 2 coins, which basically represent the 2 people that just fucking left him there. They're worthless. They're not human. You know, Jesus says you can't serve both God and money. They're thinking about themselves. They're selfish. So he pays 2 denarii, 2 coins, for the guy to get clothes and get cared for. And then he says, I'll take, you know what, whatever else, if it turns out to be more than that, I'll pay for whatever else he needs. That is the parable of the Good Samaritan. It is empathy. Just as when Jesus sees people weeping for Lazarus and he's overwhelmed, and Jesus wept. What is it, Luke 11:35? I don't know. For some reason I have a block on or is it Luke 15? It's Luke 15. Anyway, it's still Luke 11. I don't know what it is. It's in Luke, I think. No, it's John 11:35. What is it? I must not be Jesus. God, I can't remember the fucking verses that people quoted me in. Anyway, Jesus weeps for Lazarus and for the people who are suffering for Lazarus. That is the shortest verse in the Bible. That is the narrow gate that Jesus recommends we enter through. And it is empathy. Again, the Good Samaritan is the white clothed figure in the yin-yang symbol looking at the black unclothed figure, empathizing with him, being immersed in his suffering. This is real empathy. When you see someone in that state, like Jesus was beaten, he was whipped with like a whip, like this. The middle of the yin-yang symbol is a whip. He was given a crown of thorns, and they took his clothes. He was beaten and stripped, just like the victim in the Good Samaritan. And so this guy, the Good Samaritan, has clothes on, looks at an unclothed person. In his mind, he becomes an unclothed person. He becomes naked. He becomes an unclothed person. Just like Thomas, when they go to see Lazarus, he says, let us go and die with him. This is the essence of it. You die with the other person. You become immersed in their suffering. And then you imagine how to relieve that suffering. You imagine him clothed and unwounded. And so that's why the Good Samaritan, it's like magic. The Good Samaritan becomes magically clothed in the good, the victim becomes magically clothed in the good intentions of the Good Samaritan who comes to protect him, having seen all the suffering that he's gone through. And again, the middle of the yin-yang symbol is the road. The victim's by the side of the road. You get two people that leave the guy alone. They're small-minded. They're worth as much as a fucking coin. And then you got the Good Samaritan who sees things holistically, who loves his neighbor as himself. That's the Good Samaritan, you fucking retards.